Is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. Dave sent another big knife along for me to check out. Shout out and thanks to my man. He's letting me check out the Medford Tff1H. I believe is what that says. It could be the TFFIH. So I apologize if I'm getting that wrong. Let's go ahead and get into it. What I'll be doing today is going through the specs that I found. I'm hoping, again, because this was a tough model to find, the specs. We will go through size comparisons, and then we'll jump into thoughts and impressions. So the Medford Tff, I'm gonna call it the Tff, has a 4-inch S35 VN. I think that's what the S stands for on this. Someone can correct me in the comments. I don't mind at all. 5.5-inch titanium handles, overall length, another 9.5-inch knife, and the claimed weight on the website was 15 ounces. And, you know, picking it up now, it does kind of feel... It does feel heavy, but I was like 15 ounces seemed extreme. So 11.8 ounces. And I don't know if Sat2 has done anything to the knife where it would have pulled some weight away. So let's go ahead and do some size comparisons, and then we'll jump into thoughts and impressions. As usual, we're going to start out the comparisons with the Demco AD 20.5 and the Spyderco Shaman. This one being on the larger end of the knives that I would carry as far as size comparisons, but you can just see how much larger and how much more presence the Medford has. Let's go ahead and move the Demco out of the way. Some of y'all are probably laughing. These knives probably look silly next to this, but I really do appreciate that because it does help from a frame of reference to understand where it's coming from. But as I did the last time, instead of bringing out the K320 from Hogue out here, I am going to bring the Demco AD20S, which is definitely a full-size knife in my collection, to give you guys a good frame of reference. Let's go ahead and move the bug out of the way, and we'll move the AD20S out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and bring in a couple budget knives for anyone out there that collects or is just getting into the industry or into the hobby. You can see with these budget comparisons just how large of a knife this is. Well, let's do some thickness profile comparisons. We'll go ahead and start against the Praxis since we have it here, and this is a large size knife. Here you go. Against the Praxis, you can tell it is much thicker. I'm going to switch hands and move to the other side. We'll check it against the Shaman. And we're going to check it lastly against that AD20S that I had out here earlier. So as you can see, this is definitely much larger, a much bigger knife overall. Let's go ahead and jump into thoughts and impressions, and we're going to start with the ergos on this one. The actual hand position itself is very comfortable. It's a very natural position to land in. It feels very comfortable to use. I have not cleaned this up. Dave sent it along this way, and I just did a little bit of cutting. I didn't really test the edge because it's a used knife, right? I just did a little bit of cutting through some cardboard box that I had to break down that came in this week, and it's very comfortable. It does have a hollow grind. It is not the thinnest hollow grind I felt out there, but it is definitely slicey, and it went through the material with no issues whatsoever. The only complaints I have are the edges are a little sharp and hard on this one, so when you're holding it as you're going through some of the material, you feel it. It's not uncomfortable, it doesn't hurt, it's not hot, but you feel it. What you really feel more is this very aggressive pocket clip, best way I can think to describe it. Where I'm feeling that for me is as the knife moves around a little bit, it kind of grabs a little bit of the skin in the hand. So I feel that more than I do anything else. But again, it's not awful, not super hot. I'm just feeling it a lot when it's there. But I like the fact that that protects the pocket clip, and I am going to attempt once. Oh, yep, I was able to get it. I wonder if I can do it without any momentum. That's what I want to do. I just want to be careful because I feel like it's going to slide. Okay. I didn't try to do that or mean to do that with momentum. I think it's just, I need a little bit of kick to be able to get it left-handed. Right-handed, no issue. But again, I predominantly fidget with my right hand. So I think that's why I'm able to kick this out without, you know, having to do anything. But left-handed with this much knife, oh, I got it. Barely, but I got it. Thumb flicking with this hand's a little bit easier. There's no pocket clip to grab onto on this side, so I slip a little bit. So I kind of have to use the edge, and the knife still slips. That's why you see it kind of moving around. I think if I had something to leverage on that side, I probably could get it a little bit easier. But what I'm having to do is kind of use that jimping there to hold it to get it left-handed, since there's no pocket clip over there, versus over here I'm able to get in there very easily. So those are my thoughts on the ergos. The action, this definitely has to be on bearings. If this has phosphor bronze washers, it is seriously smooth and broken in. Like, I can't believe how smooth that is. And it could be because you can't see nothing. I mean, you can't see anything down in there. But I feel like the way that it falls, I don't know. Dave, you have to say something down in the comments. Is this washers or is this bearings? Because I had a couple of Medfords that I think were on washers, and I've had one that was on bearings, and this one feels more like the bearing variant. Whew, that dropped right on the thumb. That hurt a little bit. So it does feel like it's bearing smooth, but if it's phosphor bronze washers, damn, it is smooth. Medford, no surprise here. If you have any experience with Medfords, they're very thick blade stocks, very good hollow grinds. They will cut and slice. They will not be the sliciest knife out there. They're not going to move through the material the easiest compared to most EDC knives, but they do a damn good job. And they've been doing S35, S45 for a while, and they do a really good heat treat on them. And the weight of the knife, being one of the more heavier knives I think that have come through on the channel, is probably something that I would not everyday carry. Perhaps in the winter, you know, in jeans, belt, with the other stuff that I like to carry. That's, you know, that's a lot in my pockets for me, because when you consider I carry a 9 flashlight pen, usually is my standard with my wallet and my chapstick. You know, that's a lot in the pants pockets. So for me, this would be a little bit on the heavier side. I definitely would be able to summer carry this, being that this is so heavy. This is definitely a bruiser by all intent and purposes, and it is extremely impressive and very well built. I like the all blacked out look. I'm not quite sure what coating this is. I don't think it's PVD, but it could be that it's just so, you know, it's been used so much that it could just be worn. It kind of reminds me of the finish on my smock that has that diamond nitrate type coating, where you can kind of get some discoloration and you can see the grind lines and everything through it a little bit. That's kind of what it reminds me of, but I'm not quite sure if it's the same, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see the grind lines from it. But I would say the one that on the smock is probably a little bit shinier than what's on here. But again, I don't know the age of this, and it certainly does look like it gets a lot of use. I skipped the alternative recommendations for these because they're so large, but if you like a full-size knife, you really can't go wrong with a Medford. You can't go wrong with a full-size Sebenza. The Demco's, again, that 80-20. If you don't like the slim, the 20 is thicker, it's bigger. The clip point is definitely going to give you more blade length, but as far as power cutting, I think the Shark's Foot, sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it, and then the Warncliffs, they give you a lot of power because they get so much cutting edge on the same material that you're cutting through, as opposed to anything that kind of sweeps. You might be getting like a piece of the blade that's going through the materials, which is why I like these shapes, because of the type of task that I do. Anyway, thanks again for sending this along, Dave. I appreciate it, brother. This was definitely really cool to check out. I did forget to talk about access to the lock bar, but with Medfords, those are all really good. I have no issues with them. I know some people say they would like it cut out a little bit more, but honestly, they scallop so much and it's so thick and so roomy in here. It doesn't matter how you actuate it, it's going to work just fine. It truly gives you plenty of space to get that meat down in there. So I did forget to mention that. I wanted to talk about that. I take for granted with Medfords that they have that lock bar access that's really easy to get to for me personally with the larger hands. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for everyone out there that leaves the likes, is subscribed, and regularly commenting. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.